Namaste everyone, welcome back to my channel Physio Vitals. I'm Dr. Ankita Savan and today I am back with the topic on blood, its anatomy, physiology and its applied anatomy. So what is blood? It's highly specialized tissue composed of cells which are suspended in the fluid matrix. It circulates through the cardiovascular system, supplying essential nutrients and gases like O2 to the tissues, removing the waste products, fighting infections, and regulating various bodily functions. It constitutes about 7 to 8% of human body weight, with an average adult having approximately 4.5 to 6 liters of blood. So, it's a very vital fluid which circulates throughout the body. It constitutes about 7 to 8% of the human body weight. So, what are the components of the blood? So, we have WBCs, RBCs, plasma, platelets. So, what is plasma? It's a liquid component of blood which is composed mostly of water carrying dissolved nutrients, waste products and protein. So, it's a liquid plasma, okay? Whereas RBCs, these carries oxygen from the lungs to the body's tissue and return carbon dioxide to the lungs back for exhalation. What does the white blood cells do? They play a very crucial role in immune system. So defending against the infections and foreign substance. So they are the backups of the immune system. Then platelets. It is essential for blood clotting, helping to stop bleeding by forming a plug at the site of the injury, coagulation. So these are the components of the blood. We'll see them further in detail one by one. So first, red blood cells or erythrocytes. So what are they? Its structure wise, it is small disc shaped cells which is a biconcave structure. This shape increase the cell's surface area to volume ratio, optimizing the diffusion of the gases such as oxygen and carbon dioxide. So mature RBCs lack a nucleus and organelles to maximize the space for hemoglobin. See, they lack this nucleus and organelles so that they can provide the space for hemoglobin, which is an iron containing protein that binds oxygen. So hemoglobin binds oxygen, so it is present in the red blood cells. So RBCs have a lifespan of approximately 120 days, after which they get destroyed in the spleen and liver, okay, with their components recycled. So RBCs lifespan of them are 120 days and they get destroyed in spleen and liver. What is its function? First, oxygen transport. So hemoglobin binds oxygen in lungs and carries it to the tissue where oxygen is released. Okay. Hemoglobin also facilitates transport of carbon dioxide from the tissues back to the lungs and then from there it is exhaled out. So transport, O2 transport and carbon dioxide expellation. So each RBC contains about 250 million hemoglobin molecules, which allows the cells to transport about 1 billion O2 molecules. Okay, so its production we'll see. Erythropoiesis, the process of red blood cells formation which occurs in the bone marrow. Erythropoiesis occurs in bone marrow, regulated by the hormone erythropoietin. Now we'll see some applied anatomy of RBCs. Anemia and sickle cell anemia. So what is anemia? It is characterized by reduced number of RBCs or low hemoglobin levels, which leads to reduced oxygen carrying capacity. Causes include iron deficiency, chronic diseases and bone marrow disorders. So due to these reasons anemia can occur. Also there is one more applied anatomy, that is sickle cell anemia. It is a genetic disorder in which RBC become sickle shaped, causes the blockage in the blood vessels and leading to pain and tissue damage. So these are the two applied anatomy. Then polycythemia. One more applied anatomy is polycythemia, and abnormal increase in RBCs. This causes the thickening of the blood. So blood is thickened up because of the increased number of the RBCs. There is also, due to that, there is increased risk of blood clotting in cardiovascular, and cardiovascular complications can occur further. Okay, so moving further to the white blood cells now. So it is a part of immune system which defends the body against the infection, foreign invaders and abnormal cells like cancer. So there are several types of WBCs which each with distinct role in the immune defense. So two categories are there, granulocytes and agranulocytes. In granulocytes we'll see neutrophils first. So neutrophils, will see its function, phagocytosis of the bacteria and fungi. So most abundant WBCs, these are the most abundant WBCs which are responsible for engulfing and destroying the bacteria through phagocytosis. Engulf. So if there is any infection, these neutrophils cover up, engulf it and destroys that bacteria. So neutrophils are the first responder during infection and forms pus wherever there is wound. Okay. So what is neutropenia? It is a condition where there is a low neutrophil count leading to increased susceptibility to infections. Wherever there is less neutrophils, definitely there will be immunocompromisation happening. So if there is less neutrophils, infection might get multiplied because there is no optimum backup or engulfing happening, neutralizing the bacteria. So there is more increased susceptibility to infection. Next we'll see is eosinophil. We are speaking about granulocytes. So first we saw in granulocyte neutrophils. Second we'll see eosinophil. So its primary function involves in fighting the parasitic infections and mediating allergic reactions. Okay, parasitic infections and allergic reactions. So elevated eosinophils are seen in allergic diseases like asthma or parasitic infections. Now we'll see the basophils. So basophils are involved in allergic responses and inflammation by releasing the histamine and heparin, contributing to vasodilation and anticoagulation. So it releases histamine and other inflammatory mediators which contribute to the vasodilation, increase the surface area of the artery, lumen basically, vasodilation and anticoagulation. So these increased basophil are often observed in allergic reactions or chronic inflammatory diseases. Now comment down and tell me, mention the chronic inflammatory diseases in the comment section. These were all about the granulocytes. Now we'll see agranulocytes, which are lymphocytes. Okay, so its function includes T cells and B cells. What are the T cells? T cells destroy infection and cancerous cells, whereas B cells, they produce antibodies to neutralize the pathogens. Very important, T cells and B cells. So T cell, they destroy the infection or cancerous cell, whereas B cells, they produce antibodies to neutralize the pathogens. So these lymphocytes play a role in autoimmune diseases and immunodeficiency disorders. Comment down what are the autoimmune disorders. Okay, I'll definitely react to it. Next, agranulocyte is monocytes. So these are the large WBC matured into macrophages once they enter tissues, where they engulf pathogens, dead cells and debris. They play a critical role in chronic infections and tissue repair. So increased amount of monocytes may indicate chronic infections such as tuberculosis or inflammatory conditions. So that was all about white blood cells or leukocytes. Moving further to platelets, which is also known as thrombocytes. So what is the structure? First we'll see the structure. The area is small. irregularly shaped cells fragments which are derived from megakaryocytes. ठीक है, this megakaryocytes are present in the bone marrow. They lack a nucleus but contains enzyme and protein which are essential for clotting. Okay, so its function we'll see. It is essential for hemostasis, the process of stopping the bleeding. When blood vessels is injured, platelet adheres to the exposed collagen fiber, releases chemicals that promotes the clotting and aggregate to form a temporary platelet plug. So addition, platelets adhere to the site of injury, forming a thick sticky plug. This is called as platelet plug. They also activate the coagulation cascade, which is a series of reactions that results in the formation of fibrin, a protein that strengthens the blood clot. So its activation is basically activated platelets release factors that attract more platelets and initiate the coagulation cascade, which I just mentioned. So this aggregation is by forming a stable clot that stops the bleeding. So what is thrombocytopenia now? So low platelet counts can result from the conditions like bone marrow failure, viral infections or autoimmune disorders, which leads to easy bruising or excessive bleeding. So thrombocytopenia is basically low platelet counts. Next, thrombocytosis. What is thrombocytosis now? These are the excessively high platelet counts which can cause an abnormal clot formation, thrombosis, which leads to DVT or pulmonary embolism or stroke. Okay, so see how important this plasma platelet is. Sorry. Moving further to blood plasma now. So this is a pale yellow liquid portion of blood making up about 55% of its total volume. It is composed of 90% of water, with the remaining 10% being dissolved substances such as electrolytes, nutrients, waste products, gases, hormones and plasma protein. So we have key proteins in the plasma. These are albumin, fibrinogen and globulins. So albumin maintains the osmotic pressure and transports various substances, whereas fibrinogen a key protein in blood clotting. So fibrinogen is important for blood clotting, whereas globulin now involves in immunity, antibodies, clotting and transport. So it plays a role in immunity, immune defense, clotting and transport. So key proteins are albumin, globulin and fibrinogens. Okay, involved in clotting, immune response and transport. Whereas its function now we'll see, the plasma serves as a medium for transporting blood cells, nutrients, hormones and waste products. It helps regulate blood pressure and volume and maintains proper pH balance. Now coagulation. So plasma contains coagulation factors that are crucial in the clotting process. In the event of injury, these factors work with platelets to form a stable blood clot. Now immune response it also has, that plasma carries antibodies and other proteins which are involved in the immune system defense against the pathogen. So all that antibodies, proteins get into the plasma and reaches to the wherever the infection or pathogen is there. So it is a perfect vehicle for them to reach till the site. So we saw water, it is 90% water. Okay, we saw the proteins, electrolytes in that, sodium, potassium, chloride and others maintain the osmotic pressure and nerve function, very important. So osmotic pressure, albumin maintains the osmotic pressure, whereas nutrients, glucose, amino acids, fatty acids and vitamins transported to tissues for energy and growth. So many function it is. Water, it provides water, it has protein, electrolytes, nutrients. So now we'll see what is hemophilia. A genetic disorder where certain clotting factors are deficient, leading to excessive bleeding. Hemophilia is a genetic disorder where certain clotting factors are deficient, due to which there is excessive bleeding. Then what is plasmapheresis? This is also known as plasma exchange. It is a medical procedure where plasma is separated from the blood cells, often used to treat autoimmune diseases like GBS, myasthenia gravis by removing the harmful antibodies. Okay. So in applied anatomy of the circulatory system, first we'll see heart, the central pump of the circulatory system propelling blood through the body. So just imagine if the blood is coagulated, will the heart be able to pump the blood effectively? Will that blood reach to the periphery optimally? No, na. So see how this blood is really important. If the blood is infected, the infection is spread. Then arteries carry oxygenated blood away from the heart to the tissues. Veins, if there is any DVTs and all, so how harmful this might take. Pulmonary embolism can occur and instant death due to which can occur. So veins return deoxygenated blood from the tissues back to the heart. Capillaries, these tiny vessels that allow for exchange of nutrients, oxygen and waste products between blood and the tissue. So how important the blood is. So I'm concluding here. Just wanted to make a brief of today's topic, that the components of the blood, whether it's RBC, WBC, platelets, plasma, they work in concert to ensure oxygen transport, immunity, coagulation and overall hemostasis. Disorders affecting these components can have serious consequences for health, which is why understanding their structure, function and its applied anatomy is essential in both diagnostics and therapeutics in clinical practices. So I hope this lecture was very helpful for you. Thank you very much to bear me till here. God bless you all. Keep learning. Thank you.